Hey guys, I'm here today to do the mid-year book tag. Now I was very kindly tagged in this by Adam from the channel Memento Mori, so I'm going to link his version of the video down below. If you're not subscribed, you should be. He's a very welcome addition to Booktube. I really enjoy hearing his thoughts, and his videos really make me laugh, so definitely go and check that video out. Now I will say I'm going away for the weekend today, on the day I'm filming this. And I'm going with a few booktubers. I'm going with Eleanor from Eleanor Reads Books, Caitlin from Kitty G and Lauren from Lauren and the Books, and we're going to stay for a weekend in Dorset and it'll be wonderful. So I'm trying to be sensible and organised, and I'm pre-filming a few videos and scheduling them, so that will be why my next few videos I'll be in the same outfit because they're pre-filmed. So yeah, by the time you're watching this I should hopefully be on my way to meet the lovely ladies and have a wonderful few days together. So on to the questions. Now I don't usually do a mid-year check-in, mainly because I'm indecisive, and I know lots of people do a sort of first half of the year favourite books video, and I don't like doing that. I love watching them, but I don't like doing that because I don't like to commit to anything in case I change my mind further on in the year. But this is quite interesting because rather than making me name my favourites, it makes me like choose certain topics. Now I probably can't answer all these questions because they're not all applicable to my reading, but I'm going to do my best, so apologies because I will be looking down to look at the questions. So the first question is best book you've read so far in 2017. Now I've cheated on this one because what I've done is most of my favourite books of the year so far, the ones I feel like I've enjoyed the most, are being used for other answers, and I didn't want to double answer like with the same book, and also I'm unsure as to which one is my favourite. Like, I need to sit with books for a longer time. I find it really difficult to pick one out of, you know, a top few, so unsure, but all of the ones that could be contenders for my favourite are mentioned in this video, or most of them at least anyway. So the next one is the best sequel you've read so far in 2017. Now that's easy because I've only read one new sequel, and that is the giant Assassin's Fate, which is book 3 of Fitz and the Fool. And sadly, I didn't actually think this was that wonderful. I get 3 out of 5 stars, which is really low for a Robin Hood book for me. But it was still, you know, a wonderful thing to get back to some of my favourite characters and to be in their world for a while, even if I didn't love the way this book was executed. So there's that, and I'm going to put that down very quickly because it's incredibly heavy. The next question is new release you haven't read yet but want to. Now, I mean, I could have answered so many books for this. I've got so many books on my shelves that are new releases this year that I haven't read yet, but the one I decided to go for was Ashland and Vine by John Burnside, and this is because, rather embarrassingly, I listened to, I think it was The Guardian, do a podcast where they chatted to John Burnside about this book, and I listened to that podcast I think in March or April, and I was like, as soon as I get home I'm going to start the book, and then I didn't, and we're now in July and I still haven't. So yeah, that sort of annoyed me because I like to try and read a book when I've got that like real buzzy feeling to read it, and for some reason I let that go with the podcast and then haven't read it yet. So I really want to try and get to this ASAP. So there's that one, as well as many others, but that's the one I decided to go for. Then we have the biggest disappointment. Now I have got a few disappointments of the year, but I guess the biggest would be The Wanderers by Meg Howry. I haven't got it anymore, so there's a picture of it. I don't keep books that I give 3 stars or less to, because space. Yeah, so I was really excited about this one. I heard that it was coming out last year, and I adored her book, The Crane's Dance, when I read it last year, and so I was really excited. It sounded like a literary sci-fi, which is right up my street, and just couldn't wait, and it was a real letdown for me. I gave it 2 stars. You know, there's quite a few other books that I thought I was going to love that I gave 2 stars, but I'm going to put this one as the biggest disappointment because I think the waiting for it to be released built up the expectations, and then it was just a bit rubbish for me. So there's that one, so I wouldn't recommend that one. Then we have biggest surprise. Now, I mean, I found this question odd because usually books aren't surprising for me because I think I'm going to like them, that's why I read them, and so when I then do like them, it's not really a surprise. But I guess one that I was surprised by the amount of themes it had and how much I enjoyed it was English Animals by Laura Kay. I went into this book thinking, debut, don't really know much about the author, haven't heard a ton about it, hopefully it'll be a 4-star read. I don't usually go into debut novels that haven't had loads of buzz thinking they're going to be 5 stars, because it usually takes a bit more to make me think I'm going to give a book 5 stars, and hello Albus, he's come to say hi. I just adored this book, and it had so many wonderful themes, so many things to think about and discuss. So I think I was just quite surprised by how much this, you know, not very large book, especially a debut, held. I really enjoyed it and would highly recommend this one. Then the next question is favourite new author, debut or new to you. So I have quite a few authors I've read books by this year that I really want to carry on reading. So there's a few people I could mention here. Jesmyn Ward, I've just read her memoir, Men We Reaped, and I'm now definitely going to go and read all of her novels. She has a new one coming out, I think later this year, so I'm really excited about that. And there's a few other authors that have been mentioned within this video who I'm going to move my drink because he's going to knock it over, who I'm really excited about. But the one I thought I'd use for this question is Sarah Winman. Now this is an advanced reader's copy of her novel Tin Man, and I loved this book and have already ordered one of her previous books online, so that should be arriving hopefully today so I can take it on holiday with me. And yeah, I feel like I just adored it, and it was I feel like she's going to be a real sort of comfort read author for me when I'm feeling like I want something that's perhaps a bit easier or familiar to read in terms of, I find, I've said this before, stories about British working class families very comforting and familiar to me, and that's sort of what she does. So I'm thinking she could be a new favourite author, so that's Sarah Winman. Then we have newest fictional crush. Now, to be honest, I don't really fancy people. I mean, I don't know if this question is designed for a younger reader. I guess I admire characters, and I think in some books, if there's a connection between certain characters in the book, I can relate and see why they'd be attracted to that person, but I don't usually, you know, wish I was in their shoes or anything like that. The only books I do feel like that about are the Fitz and the Fool books and by Robin Hobb, and that's because you know Fitz from the age of 5 until many years later. You really grow up with him, and I don't usually read books that have romantic elements, and if I do, they're not really romantic, they're like fraught, difficult relationships, whereas the Robin Hobb books have difficulties, but they have, you know, nice romantic storylines to them as well that aren't at the forefront of the story, but they're certainly there. And I just think Fitz is a phenomenal character, and I adore him. I wouldn't say I fancy him, but I certainly think he's a wonderful person, and I really respect him, the life he's led. So if I had to, I'd go for Fitz, I guess, which is a bit creepy seeing as I started reading about him as a 5-year-old, but we'll let that one pass. Newest favourite character. Again, I could have gone with many books for this, and lots of the books I've mentioned, but I find I connect the most, I've said this before, to young girl characters, so I went for The Proof of Love by Catherine Hall. I adored this book. So the protagonist of this novel is a man who's in his late 20s, early 30s, and he goes to live in the countryside because he's trying to escape something, and he's working on a rural farm in the 70s. But my favourite character of the novel is a young girl called Alice. She's 10 years old, and he becomes very close to her, and they have a wonderful relationship. I just loved Alice. I thought she was really spunky and confident, and for someone who had quite a sort of downtrodden upbringing, really, she was just really vivacious, and just, I really loved her. So I think, you know, for this question I could answer with lots of the characters from Robin Hobb's books, or I could answer with just loads of young female characters. Like loads of the books I've read this year have had young female characters in that I've adored, but I decided to go for Alice from The Proof of Love because I really liked Alice, and I wanted to mention this book in this video because it's fantastic. Now the next question is the book that made you cry. So I'm a fairly easy crier, to be fair. I have got a few non-fiction books that have made me cry, but the book that made me cry the most this year out of all the books I've read was The Clay Girl by Heather Tucker. This book really just wrecked me, to be honest. I sobbed and sobbed. I reread sections that I'd cried through, and I had to take breaks and really think about what was happening to these characters, and I just felt a really intense emotional connection to these people. As I said in my review, this isn't a perfect book for me, but the depth of the emotional connection I had to these people sort of overcame any slight issues I had with the book. So this isn't an easy read. There's quite a lot of horrible things that happen, but yeah, this one really broke my heart, so there's that. And then on the flip side, the book that made you happy. The book that made me happy was The Trouble with Goats and Sheep by Joanna Cannon, and this is just a really delightful, easy read. There's some dark elements to the story, but they're handled in quite a light way. This again is about two young female characters, two little girls. They're really funny and there's really tender moments, and yeah, they just made me, I'd been having a really rubbish reading time, quite a difficult time in my like personal life as well, and I picked this book up and I remember reading this on the top of a double-decker bus on a really sunny day in the sort of end of winter, beginning of spring, and just feeling really lifted up by it. So yeah, this was the first book that shot to my mind when I read this question, so there's that one. The next one I don't think I can answer is favourite book to film adaptation you've seen this year. Now I have actually seen a few TV series, so I've tried American Gods, I've tried The Handmaid's Tale, and I'm not on those bandwagons. I saw the first episode of The Handmaid's Tale and I thought it was really overwrought. Like, I think when you have to make the sort of bad, evil characters in such militant uniform, just really obvious the way we handle them in any sort of big epic blockbuster film, I think it just cheapens it for me. So yeah, it was a book I enjoyed when I read it, I think when I was about 16, haven't read it since then, but yeah, I saw the first episode, didn't think it was awful, but I also just thought it handled itself a little bit too blatantly for me and didn't love it. American Gods I got a lot more episodes into and actually was enjoying that, and then it got to the point where I just felt like the main character Shadow is sort of like an empty vessel, and that's true for the book as well. I didn't love the book, I gave it 3 stars, and there was lots of bits in the book that I felt could have been edited down. And yeah, the TV series is visually stunning, very interestingly edited, and the music is really good, and the way it's done is just really excellent. But it feels more like interesting vignettes than any sort of real character development, so I've given up on watching that. So yeah, I can't really tell you anything that I've loved so far. I want to watch My Cousin Rachel, haven't seen it yet, but I haven't been watching much TV or film this year, so haven't got an answer for that one. The next question is your favourite video you've done this year. I really struggled with this because I don't know if it's my favourite as in like when it was edited what I thought was like the best version of my channel, or whether it means like the video I enjoyed doing the most, because I guess those are vastly different answers. I always enjoy doing reviews for books I really love, or reviews for books where I'm critical. I know lots of people don't like critical reviews. I do. I enjoy doing them. I enjoy the response. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed doing the reviews for The Lonely Hearts Hotel and the 5th season because I didn't particularly enjoy those, but equally I did a video very recently on 3 books I really loved, and I really enjoyed filming that because it's always nice to talk about books you really enjoyed. But yeah, I sometimes enjoy doing videos that are a bit more, I guess, random. I did a video wrap up on the whole of the Realm of the Eldling series, which I really like doing, and I did, I don't know, various, I don't think I really have a favourite. The ones I've named seem to have been reviews. I feel like they're videos that take a bit more effort, and so perhaps I look back on a bit more favourably in terms of how it makes me feel about my channel, so I'd go for just in general reviews. So yeah, what is the next question? Most beautiful book you've bought or received so far this year. You know, this was impossible to answer because I've received over 100 books so far this year, around that amount, and I tend to go for beautiful books, so there's lots of them. But one that I really adore and have decided today is my favourite is Sunshine State, which is an essay collection by Sarah Gerard. I just really love all the animals, and I also just love, I guess in a way it's sort of simplistic. Yeah, I really like that cover, and also it's a nice floppy book, so I just really like this one and the way it's been put together, so there's that. And then the last question is what books do you have to read by the end of the year? Now, I struggled with this question. I don't have to read any books. There's plenty of books I really want to read by the end of the year, but nothing's going to happen if I don't. Like, you know, nothing's going to explode. So the only one that I found on my shelves of like the 350 unread books I have where I feel like it really should be read by the end of this year is Autumn by Ali Smith. And the reason for that being that it came out last autumn, and lots of people who read and reviewed it at the time said that it was really current, and I know Ali Smith's books tend to be quite current. People said a lot of it was the discussion about Brexit and what was happening with that, and so I feel like the longer I leave this book to read, the less relevant it will feel. So my plan is to read this just before winter comes out, and then read them straight after each other if I enjoy this one, obviously. So I'm a bit annoyed with myself that I left it, but as soon as sort of winter was over, I felt like I couldn't then read this in sunny months, and so I then had to wait. So I should have read it when it came out, but I'm going to try and not put it off for another year. So that is my answer for that one. So yeah, those are all my answers. I hope you found that interesting, and like I said, I've mentioned most of the books I've enjoyed the most this year in this video. So yeah, I'd love to know your answers, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.